Meanwhile, Ruth is several steps ahead of us, 50 miles down the coast, discovering the origins of this belter of a dish.
Lovely. Cheers.
You're welcome.
Fish and chips by the seaside. You can't get a much more British institution than this. But where did our passion for deep-fried fish and chips come from? To find out, I'm meeting food anthropologist Dr. Mukta.
Mukta, hello!
Oh, how lovely.
On Cleethorpes Historic Pier.
This is the British seaside, isn't it?
Ooh,
Fish and
isn't it?
chips and a breeze.
Overcast. This looks fabulous.
So what was it then that gave rise to the unrivaled popularity of fish and chips?
We can't really be 100% sure about the history of this dish, but we can be sure that it wasn't an entirely British invention. And in fact, possibly the most compelling origin story is that fried fish came across to England with the Sephardic Jews from Spain and Portugal.
Sephardic Jews began to arrive in London at the beginning of the 17th century, fleeing the Spanish Inquisition, which persecuted people who didn't share its Christian faith. And with them came one of their favourite foods, fried fish.
Initially, it's the food of an immigrant population, and then gradually it spreads out.
That's right.
By the middle of the 1800s, fried and very likely battered fish began to appear as a popular street food.
It took its place among the jacket potatoes and the meat pies and everything else,
Jelly
really.
deals.
Jelly deals, absolutely.
To discover how a simple fish snack became one of our most celebrated national dishes, Mukta has brought me a couple of miles up the road to the industrial port of Grimsby.
So what's so special about this dock then?
These docks were the first docks to incorporate both the port plus railways.
So this was an all-in-one, we're going to build a dock with railways.
That's right.
The once small fishing port was expanded in the 1850s to include its own railway, running straight from the docks. So freshly caught fish could be loaded onto waiting trains and sent all over the country. Grimsby became one of the largest fishing ports in the world.
Would it have been as busy as this?
Yeah. Around the first year of operation, they were landing and processing around 3,400 tonnes of fish, about double the amount from the year before. And within 10 years or so, they were processing about 20,000 tonnes of fish.
Good grief.
By the 1870s, technology was advancing out at sea as well, as the traditional sail power of most fishing boats was replaced.
What you had were the introductions of these trawlers, as you see here.
Oh, it's a steam trawler.
That's right, and they're larger, so they're able to go out for longer, around Greenland, around Iceland, and then just capture as much as they can through their trawl. And then the fast clippers and cutters would then ferry these fish back and forth to be sold in markets like this.
So that's a well thought out system.
This industrialisation of the fishing industry made fried fish much more readily available. And so it became an affordable meal for the masses.
So we've talked about the fish, what about the chips?
There are chip restaurants that emerge at this time in the Victorian era.
So not fish and chip, just chip.
Yeah, it becomes a really classic working class staple where you have chips deep fried in the same way that you'd have fish deep fried.
So the two are happening separately. When do they come together?
The crux of it is when we have an emergence of a sort of new technology of deep frying.
In the late 19th century, the development of new, larger deep-fat fryers meant that for the first time, fish and chips could be cooked side by side, much like they are today.
And so you have the birth of this new type of establishment that combines both fish and chips.
Arguments remain about where the very first fish and chip shop was opened, but one thing's for sure, they proved a big hit. By 1910, there were more than 25,000 around the country. That said, it still doesn't explain one thing.
And what about the seaside? I mean, I definitely associate eating fish and chips with the seaside. When did that begin?
The same railways that transported fish across the country would have been the same railways that would have carted people into seaside towns. And here, with the fish and chip industry growing as it did, this would have been the ultimate sort of holiday food for those folk as well.
We're at the seaside. We've had our fish and chips. You know what we need now, don't you?
What's that?
An ice cream. Come on, I'll treat you.
Oh, I'll have a 99 and 2 funny feet, please, Ruth.